Hello, this is Kurt from Grand Purpose Piano. You can reach us at grandpurpose.com. You see here I have the action to the upright piano that I'm working on. This is a piano that's a player, and the action itself has really been worn over the years. So I'm going through a major reconditioning of this instrument. And I want to go through some of the points that you should be concerned with when you have an upright piano. These pianos are very old and they will need a lot of work. If they need extensive work, of course, you need piano parts replaced. If the parts are in good enough shape, it will still need a lot of reconditioning in order to get it to work properly. And I want to go through right now the things that you should be aware of, and possibly even the costs that you should be aware of as well. Number one, you want to look at the bridle straps. They're the easiest thing to see in a piano. If notes aren't playing properly and not returning, then most of the time the reason why is because the bridle straps themselves have been broken and they need to be replaced. That's what returns the hammer back to its rest position. The other part is the Wippen that I want to talk about. The Wippen over here is the part of the piano that pushes up the mechanism that plays the instrument, that pushes up the hammer. So the Wippen itself is comprised of a few different things. You have the whole thing is called the Wippen. Then on the Wippen itself, there's what this mechanism here called the jack. Okay, and then behind the jack, right over there, is called the flange. Okay, so you have the flange, the jack, and then the jack spring. You can see there's a spring there. What happens with old upright pianos, especially, is that the jack becomes unglued from the Wippen. This is a major problem. This is something which happens all the time in the old upright pianos. So that's what's happened here. You can see there's a jack that's kind of sitting over here. It straddles like a horse, the Wippen, and it becomes unglued. It's only that little bit of a glue joint, and the glue becomes brittle over the years. So what I do is I take the entire action out, release all the parts from their screw, and then drop them down on the workbench, and then I'll go ahead and you watch how easy these break. I'm just shaking it with one hand, and out it comes. So this is very, very brittle. All of these jacks are loose. If they aren't loose, watch what happens here. You heard that crack? Out it came. And that's loose too. So they all need to be pulled off, scraped, and re-glued back onto the Wippen. It's a big job and it takes time. But you know what? It's the only way to assure that you're going to have a good piano over a long period of time. I have seen so many technicians that will just go in and repair the one or two jacks to a piano that have failed, and then they're back for another service call in a few months. You know, it's good for the technician, but really for the customer, it's not good for you. What you need to do in this case is you need to have the entire action worked on and all of these fixed by a qualified piano technician. The cost of something like this is going to be somewhere between the number of $850 to $1,000. It's not a cheap thing to do. It is time consuming, and there are other repairs that are going to go along with that while you start pulling the action apart. There are a lot of other things that go wrong that you don't see until you start taking it all apart. Okay, so it is a commitment on the customer's behalf. Not only that, I want to show over here I have all the dampers out of the piano as well. These damper heads, they're made out of felt, and the felt over the years gets extremely hard or worn, and then they don't function right. They don't dampen the string the way they're supposed to, and they also cause the strings to buzz when it goes against them. There is no way to get around that. You have to replace all these felts. So that's what I'm doing on this. I take them out of the piano. I'm going to scrape them all down and put all new felts on. Not only that, but when I have this part right now, I'm going to make sure that the springs are working properly and that I can there are some squeaks and I can lubricate different things, make sure that the flanges themselves aren't cracked. A lot of the times that happens. And just make sure and go over the part and make sure that it's working properly. You know, I have all this stuff now open and I can do all these repairs now. No sense in cutting corners. And I tell the customer that, and, you know, he's aware of it as well. So it's better to be thorough at this point and do everything that you can to get it working. I'm not replacing action parts on this. I'm just refurbishing. It's a major refurbishment of the parts. But if I do find anything wrong with it, I will replace parts that are broken or cracked or brittle. All right, so that's what I'm doing right now. Keep in mind that if you have an upright piano, this is going to require a lot of work, and you need to have a qualified technician that's going to do this, not somebody that's just going to, go in there and fix one at a time. Okay, I hope this has been helpful at grandpurpose.com.